Hey, good morning, guys. Goose here. Welcome to STN Stock Talk with Ricky and myself. Pretty jazzed up as we're coming down to the end of the week. We're having a great week so far this week. Hopefully, you guys have checked us out at stocktraders.net. And I always say to you guys that we have a free trading room there. There's no reason not to have joined already. If you guys haven't, come and familiarize yourself with our site. You can send us messages, anything that we're covering. We have a fantastic community over there. And if you guys are intrigued by the premium side, which is also incredibly impressive, we do a live screen share at the opens. We come on a couple times a day usually, or at least once during the middle of the day to go over some stuff. And we're always there for everybody. And we have an incredible scan. So come check us out if you're interested in that as well. We have a $25 trial for 3 days. You can always do that and just check it out, see if it's something you even want to look into investing in. So anything we're covering, guys, in our morning thing is not a solicitation. We're coming up with a couple ideas every day, giving you our thoughts on them, maybe a couple other thoughts on the market, and finishing with that. It's not any solicitation. Please read the disclaimer that's up on the screen, also in the description area. And with that being said, I'm going to turn it right over to Ricky. I know he's got a couple good ones, and then I'll be back in a few to go over a couple, and look forward to a great day here. So Ricky, you want to take over?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Goose. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here at Stock Talk. Just want to start off by saying, this is one of those mornings where me and Goose get together, and it's not a whole lot on the radar. I mean, there's some things for us to discuss, but on days like today is where you get the real value in being over at Stock Traders, where you can get a discount on things like Trade the News, which are they're tools that we really, really heavily utilize on days like today when, something might have to just hit the news and for us to get a trade that's going to put food on the table tonight. But I mean, there's always something to discuss. So we're going to jump right into it. The first thing I'm watching today is TTNP. And it's one of those ones that it's a turd and it's not anything special yet, but I'm keeping it on radar in case it gets some legs. Right now, you can see it pushed up to about 137-ish. And it's retraced pretty much. There hasn't been a lot of pre-market action on it. But, they had a little bit of news that they sold the rights to one of their opioid drugs in Europe. I think there's like a $2 million upfront payment. But even with that money, they're, I think, only sitting on about $8 million in cash, and they're currently burning around $1 million a month. So if this thing wants to get legs and push into the 200-day or even higher, like I swear if it gets to 2, then we'll really be talking. I will be looking for a short on this. It's should be sitting at about a 19 million on the float. Not a lot of institutional or insider holders, which is pretty obvious because they're such a turd. It's a junk company. Not a lot of people want anything to do with it. So we get legs up to 160 or 2. I will be looking for some lower highs and something to put risk against. The next thing on my list, guys, is Pandora P. And this one is really on my list only because of the daily chart and the way I really, really like that it's building this long-term base with a really easy to see level right around 540, 541. We get over that and we could actually have some substantial upside. There's a big gap to fill. You see the 200-day up there around 660. So we're not over that level yet. They did have some, it was I think a price target upgrade or and somebody basically saying that they were impressed with one of the acquisitions that the company made. But if this thing decides to get legs today and get over that level, I will definitely be looking for a long on this. It may even turn into a swing because I believe once we get over this base, we're going to have some upside, and it could be something that lasts a little longer, especially due to the fact that this is a household name nowadays. This isn't your typical turd company. This is an actual company with a good business model. The next thing I'm looking at, actually the last thing I'm looking at is OMER, OMER. And man, I already missed the trade on it, but I missed the long. I'm actually really interested in the short on it. Anything pushing up into these overhead resistance levels of 19 to 20, you see you got the 200-day, we're already kind of button up right against it. Technically, we're over it right now, but definitely need to wait and see what happens after the open. I would like a short against 20. It needs to show me that it's setting up for it properly. But with it gapping up, it's at 62% pre-market. I don't know if this is something that can be sustained based off the news that is. I believe the news was just something about they're going to get reimbursements through Medicaid for one of their drugs with this new bill that came out. So I don't know if it's really warranting this move. As always, it needs to set up first. But it's important to know that these guys actually have about 33.6 million shares held by institutions and insiders, and that's according to 13Fs and other filings. So the float could actually be under 14 million on this, which it's trading that way. So it would explain a lot. That's it for me, guys. I'm going to pass it back over to my main man, Goose. I'm definitely looking forward to hear what he's got to say about GILD and Twitter. So take it away, my man.
Hey, thanks a lot, man, and great job. I want to guarantee you guys one thing, that when he talks about like OMER and not, OMER and not forcing a trade and stuff like that, he won't. He'll wait for the setup. So if this thing wants to grind through 20 and keep going, it'll be one of those things to just watch. I mean, and play, from the long side. So don't force it. Like when we're talking about thoughts of an idea of a turn on a name or something like that, we're patient there, and we try to communicate that to our community. It's all about being really, really patient.
Yeah,
so wait for the setup.
I agree, and I think if people come over and check us out, you'll see that we discuss that thoroughly in the chat. We're not just shorting randomly against these round numbers.
Yeah, and I just want to emphasize that because talking about a short with a name up like this, people might scratch their heads, and I just want to make sure you guys understand. We'll wait for that setup. It doesn't have to, and it might not happen all day, so we avoid the name if that's what your bias is on it. So anyway, I want to jump right into a couple things. Not take up too much time, but on GILD, it's already kind of doing it. It was actually a little above 76 when I had tweeted out and had picked going over GILD. But you could see the technical level that I'm looking at on Gilead, and it was a 76 area, which happens to be the 200-day. Now, I want to talk to you about two things about this trade that's, again, very important about what we were just talking about, OMER. Now, market's going to open up down. There's been some good coverage on the name recently, some crazy targets. I think it was Morgan Stanley or something like that came up with a nutty target on it. But just coming back to the technical side of it, what I'm looking for is using the set, the 76, we're at close probably now at this point, 76.50 area as a guide. And I want to look at, hopefully add in a little bit of a strength for maybe a test at, at the prior close, since it's opening up down. This is the ideal side of it. And then what I want to do, I drew a little trend line pulling back, just so you could kind of see where my initial target is going to be probably 74, because I think it could come down in this area. I'm not sure it will do it today, but this is what I want to warn you guys about. If this soaks up in this 75 area, 75 and a quarter, and starts making a higher low on this is nothing to marry. If it doesn't present a $2 or $2.50 trade or something like that, I know it's a $70 stock, it doesn't have to do anything. If it wants to reclaim that 200-day, I'm not going to sit and say I got to add when it's going against me. I'll take the trade off, reassess it, see if it, what it does, and it might end up I might end up reversing it if it wants to go, from a red to green move, which will tell me it wanted to hold that 200-day, and especially if the market turns. So I like the fail through 76, which it's already doing. I would have liked to sell it through the 76 level. It's already a little bit below, so I'm going to look for a really good entry, and I want to watch the action as it continues to fail, because if they soak it at a certain level, which I'll be able to tell, hopefully by seeing those higher lows and what the action is, or a big candle that gets soaked back up on a 5-minute, I want to be aware of that and not just marry the idea. So I know I spent a little bit of time on GILD because I only have a couple ideas, but I just want to tell you my thoughts on that. I think that you might get two different trades on depending on how it acts, but I do like the fail through 76 as my first initial trade. I'm going to move on to Twitter. And listen, I mean, to not cover a Facebook or a Twitter is like is a crime. I said yesterday I wasn't going to cover it, but I am going to cover Twitter. And this is what I'm looking at on Twitter is I'm looking at a nice wash. I would love to see it. I had thought I had drawn a line, but you could kind of see the 3120 area. I'm looking in the 31 area, and I have Facebook on another montage right next to it because I'm going to keep an eye. They're pretty much both trading, heavy this morning. I'm looking to trade it off this level and a push back up. I think that it's oversold. That's just my thought on it. And I think it's due for another push back up towards that 20-day. So if I feel like if I get really great entry and I could trade off that 3120 area here, sorry, just moved my mouse, but 3120 area, and I get really sweet entry off risking 31 or just below it, I could get that push and maybe even back to a red to green move today, depending on what the market's going to give us, which I think we don't know. This market's been absolutely nutty. But again, this is nothing to marry, guys, okay? I just want to reiterate all that to you. Like if it stays heavy and stays heavy, move on. I don't want to see people, just always fighting the same stock, fighting the same stock. It's got to be a long off 160 Facebook or 162 or whatever. And they just get chewed up with little losses. By the time they're right, they don't even make up the amount they lost. So you don't marry the idea. Stay real smart today, guys. give it what it's giving you. I have the ideas of where I want to trade them off of, what I want to see, and I'm going to stick to those ideas. If they're not working, I'm going to move on. There's going to be plenty of other stuff between the scans, trade the news, or whatever else pops up. So that's my initial thoughts. I'm looking at a long at Twitter down in the 31 area, and I'm looking for a short on Gilead, hopefully around the 76. And we'll see what the market wants to give me today. So stay safe today, guys, and let's have a great day today, and we'll move on tomorrow, 9:05. See you then. Ricky?
Thanks a lot, Goose. Please, guys, come check us out at stocktraders.net. Discounts on trade the news, scanners you won't find anywhere else, a knowledgeable community that's willing to share and try to help bring up the community all together. I'm telling you, there's more value than I can even fit into this little closing thing, guys. So please come check us out. As always, if you don't have a plan, you don't have a trade, stay safe out there. Let's go out and crush it.